The once blue-collar hamburger has become a bit of a gourmet delicacy over the past decade, gracing menus far beyond traditional steakhouses and becoming a creative outlet for chefs looking to experiment. To outside observers, all a streamer seemingly has to do is record themselves applying makeup or screaming at the tops of their lungs while playing video games, and bam, instant profit. However, that is an oversimplification and doesn't take into account the hard work, stress, and occasional accidents that can happen when streaming live. If you pay attention to the news, you probably lose faith in humanity on a daily basis because of all the dangerous stuff people do in flagrant disregard of common sense. It's become so big, one of the signature events of the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, the Burger Bash, features high-end restaurants, and even Roker, competing to see who can create the best burger. Acts of human carelessness are a daily occurrence, and streamers are no exception. The only difference is they stream their acts for the world to see, and it can totally blow up in their faces, figuratively and, occasionally, literally. Perhaps a streamer does something intentionally dangerous for views, or maybe they aren't thinking straight. Whatever the case, it's usually a matter of when, not if, and the internet has a video library's worth of recorded threats to life and limb caught live on stream. Here are some of the most dangerous examples. Warning. This article includes numerous instances of grievous bodily harm, including one instance in which a streamer died. Reader discretion is heavily advised. Jumping into strangers' cars. Stream sniping is widely frowned upon by the competitive gaming community, since it's essentially the streaming equivalent of looking at your opponent's screen during an otherwise friendly split-screen match. But, some streamers will tell you that stream sniping is also a great way for random strangers to locate content creators in the real world. This knowledge is dangerous in the wrong hands. Sushi Potato is a live streamer who records the streets of Japan one night at a time. She visits convenience stores, chats with passers-by, and eats snacks. But, on February 24, 2021, her stream took a potentially dangerous turn. But you don't need to be a celebrity chef of TV weatherman to make great burgers. One of the best thing about hamburgers is that they're pretty easy to mess around with at home, too. Of course, unlike restaurant chefs, you don't have expert meat purveyors explaining to you which cuts make for the best meals. She was taking her daily nocturnal sabbatical when a complete stranger drove up and claimed he was a fan. He also demonstrated this by offering Sushi Potato a birthday present, an expensive necklace from Tiffany, and letting her get in his car to open it. Normally, here is where things get creepy, but Sushi Potato lucked out, since the gift-giving stream sniper was just the beginning of a momentous night. And oftentimes, you're left at the mercy of whatever looks best in the frozen food aisle. Sushi Potato hung out with him and drove around until dawn. So which pre-made, frozen hamburger patties are going to have you considering a spot in the Burger Bash? We chatted with some experts, and tasted a bunch ourselves, to take the work out of choosing for you. Wild Fork Angus Beef Pub-Style Burgers. If you're not familiar with Wild Fork, and you like frozen food, take note. The chain of stores has set out to be a kind of Whole Foods of frozen foods, sourcing all natural and often organic products ready to be defrosted and served. Wild Fork also makes a lot of its own stuff, as is the case with their farm-fresh burgers. Wild Fork executive chef Jacqueline Cleese broke down for us why, exactly, the frozen pub burgers are the pick of the litter, explaining they are flash frozen at a super low temperature right after production so all the nutrients and flavorful goodness get trapped inside. I always like 85/15, because fat will melt a little on the grill on in your skillet and give a wonderful flavor, Chef Cleese told Mashed, describing the beef mixture of 85% lean meat and 15% fat. We also carry from Chuck, which has more marbling and more flavor. The pub-style patties are 1/3 pound each and come in packages of 6. They're not available everywhere, though Wild Fork does deliver. They even shared the breakfast of champions together, sushi. The stars must have aligned for Sushi Potato, since she came across a total stranger who actually wanted to know her better and didn't want to hurt her. Despite Sushi Potato's preternatural luck, it's generally a bad idea to accept presents from and jump into the cars of any random stranger who approaches you. So check the website and see if they're in your area.
Philly Gourmet 100% pure beef patties. Advice on how to cook frozen burgers abounds. But if you ask a man who's literally made a career talking burgers, his take is one worth listening to. That's a great way to get kidnapped. Trying to be a real fruit ninja who doesn't want the deftness and dexterity to slice a flying piece of fruit clean in two? Games like Fruit Ninja make it look easy, but reality is rarely reflected in video games. When wielding a sword, you have to worry about its heft, length, and most importantly, sharpness. S.E.F. Gonzalez, a.k.a. The Burger Beast, is author of All About the Burger, A History of America's Favorite Sandwich, and at one time ran the Burger Museum in Miami. His advice to mashed, my suggestion for frozen patties, is outdoor grilling. Swinging a sword improperly is, well, a double-edged sword that can easily come back to bite you in the behind, or, in Lance Stewart's case, the hand. Stewart is a streamer who posts just about anything. He's made videos that feature everything from prank compilations to puppies. In 2016, he posted a video in which he dual-wielded swords and swatted fruit lobbed his way. This went about as horrifically as you expect. Barely 10 seconds into the video, one of the swords caught on Stewart's right hand, and he started bleeding profusely. Not to be cooked on a griddle of flat top. It just doesn't work well. With that all in mind, one of the Burger Beast's top suggestions for a frozen patty are these quarter-pounders from Philly Gourmet, which also offers a thick burger and Angus variety. The reason these are tops, the Burger Beast told us, is that they're a bit smaller, and the ideal frozen patty if you're trying to make doubles. His friends and family called 911 and gave him a large towel to soak up the blood, and while they waited for the ambulance, Stewart momentarily passed out, possibly due to the shock. An ambitious undertaking, yes, but you don't get to be the Burger Beast by eating only one patty at a time. Ballpark flame-grilled beef patties, we know. Thankfully, he was quickly revived, but the pain didn't subside until the EMTs arrived. Ballpark? You ask. Eventually, Stewart's hand was stitched up, but the damage was so serious that it took him a year to regain feeling in his pinky. Stewart begged his followers and fans to learn from his mistakes. Trying to recreate Fruit Ninja in real life is a bad idea, and Stewart quite literally has the scars to prove it. Firing a gun. Alcohol and bullets do not mix. You mean that same company that makes hot dogs of indiscernible origin that you only buy for kids' birthday parties because they don't know the difference anyway? Yes, that ballpark, but the frozen burgers are a delightful surprise if you're looking for a quick burger fix. It's always a bad idea to fire a gun while under the influence of alcohol, or while drunk on gamer rage. That's why the name comes up on scores of best frozen burgers lists, including Foodshark and Kitchen Perfect. The patties claim to be flame-grilled, and from all appearances, it's not a lie. The grill marks on the meat are one indication, but heat up the patty and you'll get a strong, flame-broiled flavor you don't often find in frozen meat. An added bonus: the burgers are pre-cooked, which does hamper the juiciness a little, but allows for quick preparation as they're ready to be popped in the microwave. Firearm instructors always claim you should never point a gun at something unless you plan to shoot, after all. One of the prime examples of dangerous and inebriated gun handling came to the streaming world from Carl Reimer. Make no mistake, you'll still get a better burger if you heat it on the grill. Early in March 2020, he got drunk while streaming and cocked a handgun while daring viewers to say he didn't have money. He thought it was unloaded and therefore safe to pull the trigger, but it wasn't. But if you've only got a minute, the ballpark burger is a great option. Omaha Steaks steak burgers. You knew America's favorite frozen meat delivery company, Omaha Steaks, would have an entrant on this list. The only question was which one. The gun went off and demolished the G Fuel container on his desk, as well as his career. Reimer was banned from Twitch and booted from his esports team, via Dexerto. Their traditional burgers show up on nearly any list of best frozen hamburgers you might find, notching a number 3 ranking from Pallet Dining, and runner-up honors for both Foodshark and Chef's Resource. The patties undergo a rigorous preparation process, where the meat is aged, then ground twice to give it a unique texture. There's no seasoning or added ingredients here, just meat. So if you're looking for a classic beef flavor, you'd be hard-pressed to beat Omaha Steaks. The 80/20 blend gives these a slightly fattier consistency, but if you grill your meat, that can be mitigated. Luckily, no one was hurt during the incident.
However, alcohol isn't the only cause of improper gun handling while streaming. In December 2020, FaZe SW's H, no affiliation with the actual FaZe clan, apparently experienced a humiliating death in Call of Duty Warzone, so he vented his frustration by opening a window and unloading an entire handgun clip worth of catharsis into the night. Luckily, according to Dexerto, the window faces an empty field, so nobody got hurt. But, it's still dangerously, and potentially fatally, irresponsible to fire a gun blindly, for any reason. Accidentally lighting your own house on fire when you were a kid. Your mother probably told you to never play with matches or anything that can start a fire. Apparently, some streamers never heeded that warning, as Anna Playing accidentally lit her own hair on fire while absent-mindedly playing with a lighter. Luckily, she quickly put out the burgeoning blaze. That said, Men's Journal suggests pan-frying the burgers for maximum flavor, throwing them in a non-stick pan for about 7 minutes on each side. Ultimately, she got off easy, compared to the Japanese streamer Dasuke. During a 2015 Minecraft stream, Dasuke decided to take a break and show off his lighter collection while he refilled one with lighter fluid. He apparently spilled some fluid on a lighter matchbox combo, and even though he wiped it down, he still made a wrong move when he tried to light a match on it. If you like your meat juicy, this is probably your best option. Nature's Rancher Angus Beef Burgers, a favorite in the Whole Foods frozen foods aisle. Nature's Rancher's quarter-pound patties come from animal welfare certified ranches, according to the company's website, meaning the cows are ethically treated right up until the time they're not. The grass-fed patties definitely look a little more processed than what you'd typically find at Whole Foods, but don't let the thin, perfect circles fool you. The pre-made meat tastes totally fresh once you throw it on the grill, and with no added ingredients, they're ideal if you like playing around with seasonings and toppings yourself. These frozen burgers are so good, they topped the taste tests at Eat This, Not That, where one taster noted, "It's unusual to take a bite of a burger and really taste the meat. We're not sure what else one is supposed to taste when eating meat, but we'll assume they meant it as a compliment." That was where his stream literally went up in smoke. After several failed attempts, the match caught fire, and so did the lighter. And the problem with fire is that most people can't keep a cool head after they start one by accident. Dasuke immediately dropped the lighter, tried to put it out, and gently placed the lit match on even more flammable material. At this point, he was facing fire on two fronts and couldn't keep up. The site also noted, correctly, that the meat has been heavily processed, and if Nature's Rancher has a weak spot, it's that the texture can be a little thin. Brooklyn Brothers Premium Steakhouse Burger. The city of origin branding is an interesting call here. While Brooklyn is certainly known for its pizza and, more recently, beer, is it really on the map for burgers too? The folks at First Avenue Foods think so, as according to the company's website, they provide meat to esteemed steakhouses like Peter Luger's, Benjamin's, and Wolfgang's. And now they offer a frozen burger patty available at Wegmans, Publix, and other grocery chains with intense cult followings. The Burger Beast listed the Brooklyn Brothers burger among his top picks when asked by Mashed, saying the hormone and antibiotic-free patties felt like I was eating healthy. The USDA choice burgers are made from a chuck, brisket, and short rib blend, just like burgers you'd get in a steakhouse, and though it remains to be seen if they'd be described as healthy, they are at least devoid of any additives. Burger Beast suggests adding salt, black pepper, and a slice of cheddar cheese to get the most out of these unadulterated patties. Mount Pleasant grass-fed ground beef burgers. Judging by the collective frozen burger rankings of the internet, grass-fed beef appears to make for a better frozen patty than traditional grain-fed. That's why you find grass-fed patties topping lists from Foodshark, Home Gear X, Eat This, Not That, and others. Soon, his house was ablaze. Luckily, according to eTechnics, Dasuke and his family were able to escape the flames unscathed. Given all the flammable material in Dasuke's room, it's a miracle the fire didn't spread quicker than it did. And the name that came up more than any? Mount Pleasant's 100% grass-fed patties, which tout their free-roaming and organically fed cows. Things could have ended up a lot worse. Lollipop stranger danger. Never accept candy from strangers. If you're looking for clean meat in a frozen patty, you won't find much cleaner than Mount Pleasant.
The flavor, much like the mountain, for which the brand is named, the ranch is actually in very unmountainous northeast Texas, per the company website, but that is rule number 1 of daily life, and most people wouldn't even consider it. But sometimes, the morbidly curious part of your brain wonders what would happen if you humored the person handing out candy. Details is also quite pleasant, giving a clean, lean finish that confirms the beef is well raised. The patties are flash frozen, so you don't lose much in the processing. And though nobody's claiming hamburgers as part of a healthy diet, if you're conscious of what you eat and still looking to indulge, Mount Pleasant is the way to go. Beyond burgers, it is a strange time we live in. The answer is getting a front row seat to a possible creep. Andy Milonakis made a career in film and television with his childlike appearance. Despite looking prepubescent, he is over 40 years old and spends a lot of time streaming. For so many reasons. But one of the more overlooked is that the most talked about hamburger in America right now isn't even made of meat. During a nighttime IRL stream in 2017, Milanakis was approached by a stranger carrying a paper bag of junk. The plant-based Beyond Burger has gone so mainstream it's topped frozen burger rankings from Men's Journal, Food Shark, and Palate Dining, all praising its low cholesterol, sustainability, and high protein content. They are soy and gluten-free, so pretty much anyone with any dietary restriction can eat them. The man immediately set a weird tone by inviting Milanakis to a tea party, tossing him a lollipop, and stating he had been in jail for the past week. Oh, and the stranger claimed he was released because he promised a cop a sandwich. As the stream went on, the stranger's behavior got even more uncomfortable. And, yes, they do actually taste something like meat, though when blind taste tested you can pretty easily tell the difference. That's not to say Beyond Burgers aren't a solid meat alternative if you're trying to reduce your carnal consumption. He stated that he wanted Milanakis to come with him and repeatedly asked Milanakis to turn the camera off. Just don't expect the fatty, juicy decadence that comes with beef. The combination of natural oils like coconut mixed with pea and rice proteins give it a meat-like consistency. And if you grill Beyond Burgers, they absorb the smoky flavor better than beef. Fans of flame-broiled burgers will likely be big fans, though if you're more of a smash burger person, your results may vary. Kansas City Steak Company classic steakburgers not to be outdone by their neighbors up Interstate 29 in Nebraska. The Kansas City Steak Company also puts out some of the most highly regarded frozen meats in America. And their steakburgers are right up there with any patty coming out of Omaha. The patties are favorites of Food Shark, Chef's Resource, and Palate Dining, offering corn-fed, 4.5-ounce patties in vacuum-sealed packages of 16. Chef's Resource described Kansas City Steaks as having a loyal fanbase that speaks for itself. And that may be because the company does things just a little differently. The frozen burgers are half an ounce bigger than typical quarter-pounders, and with 96% lean meat, you'll end up with a lot more protein once the fat melts away. This also results in a leaner, lower-fat burger than other options, and though it might be a little drier, Kansas City Steak Company's steakburgers make up for it in other ways. Milanakis played along, without turning the camera off, and walked with the stranger, at least until he wandered into a store. The patties come with a special KC seasoning packet, so what it lacks in fat it makes up for in zest. Western grass-fed beef patties. You may be asking yourself what the difference is between grain-fed and grass-fed beef, aside from the obvious difference in diet. Only then did Milanakis make a hasty retreat. While it's unknown if the stranger was an actual danger, most people wouldn't have stuck around to find out. From a nutritional perspective, grass-fed beef is higher in beneficial omega-3 fatty acids, as well as vitamins A and E, according to Healthline. Despite his age, Milanakis may have risked far too much documenting the man. Looking at a champagne cork bottle while opening it. It's a common trope in comedies for champagne bottle corks to break fragile objects and blacken eyes, so most people open them with care. However, Beef Magazine reported the only 2 studies done on health benefits found no difference between grain and grass-fed beef in regards to risk factors for cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes. In terms of flavor, Cook's Illustrated points out that grass-fed beef was long thought to have a lean and chewy taste, while grain-fed was richer and fattier. However, one streamer had the brilliant idea to turn a champagne bottle cork into a game of Russian roulette.
He also accidentally reminded himself it was a bad idea by demonstrating it live on stream. Since 2015, Kyle Bitwit Hansen has teamed up with Paul's Hardware, Heimlich to produce Awesome Hardware, a weekly video series about everything tech and PC. The two recently went their separate ways. That, however, seems to be changing, as that magazine's taste test found little difference in steaks, and grass-fed burger patties now dominate best of lists. Western grass-fed is among the best, produced by Western Family Ranchers, which, according to its Instagram, is paleo and Whole30 approved. While Hansen and Heimlich primarily created computer-themed vlogs, they also occasionally goofed around on set, which once almost cost Hansen an eye. In 2017, Hansen was brainstorming live about a game, in which participants would take turns loosening a champagne bottle cork while pointing it at their eyes. They topped Home Gear X's rating of frozen burgers, which cited the cow's organic diet and customizability to buy in 4-packs as key factors. Amy's Kitchen Organic Sonoma Veggie Burger. There is a marked difference between the beef substitute burgers sweeping the nation, like Beyond Burgers and Impossible Meat, and the traditional veggie burgers your vegetarian friends always brought to the barbecue. The loser would be whoever caught in face full of flying cork. Hansen discussed this idea while slowly loosening a bottle cork and looking at it. Cue dramatic irony. The bottle was barely an inch away from Hansen's face when it exploded and sent the cork screaming towards him. While the former attempt to recreate the natural taste of meat and boast about their beef-like properties, veggie burgers taste like, well, veggies. Luckily, Hansen was wearing glasses, so his eyes were protected from harm. The experience did, however, give him a nasty shock, and an unwanted champagne shampooing. If it weren't for his glasses, Hansen probably wouldn't have been able to laugh off the experience, so let his mistake be a lesson. If you liken a competition to Russian roulette, it's probably bad for your health. Skewering a leg with a skewer. The kitchen can be a dangerous location. It's full of sharp, nasty tools that can slice you up and burn you to a crisp if you're not careful. Respect your kitchen utensils, and they won't harm you. Treat them like toys, and you will probably end up with one of them sticking out of your leg. You might not have heard of the streamer Mango Spears, at least not recently. He hasn't been active in a while, and if you search for him, you will mostly find, well, Mango Spears snacks. All videos have been removed from Mango Spears' ghost town of an account, but one of the few pieces of his remaining content features the aftermath of a poorly thought-out desire to play with kitchen skewers. In the clip, Mango Spears has speared himself with a skewer. The kitchen instrument is sticking out of his leg and has clearly made a hole in his jeans. The best among them, Wild Forks executive chef Jacqueline Cleese told Mashed, come from Amy's Organic Kitchen. He is obviously in pain, but he isn't bleeding, so the damage luckily isn't too severe, probably. And though Amy's has halted production of many of their veggie burgers due to COVID-19, the Sonoma burger is still readily available. These quinoa-based patties are made with mushrooms, garbanzo beans, walnuts, celery, carrots, and garlic. The clip ends with Mango Spears laughing through the pain and trying to yank the skewer out of his leg. The moral of the story is, kitchen skewers are supposed to skewer food the chef intends to cook, not the chef themselves. Driving while distracted and live streaming distracted driving is dangerous driving. The flavor is a little starchy, with strong notes of veggies and herbs throughout, and a marked improvement over generic soy and black bean options. Just don't expect it to taste anything like beef. Greensbury Market grass-fed beef burgers. Another top entry into the grass-fed, organic burger category comes from Greensbury Market, whose 4-ounce patties come in packs of 8, and are all USDA certified organic. If you were paying attention to your phone, especially if you were using your phone to livestream, you could easily cause a fatal accident. In July 2017, Nicole Barabasova was driving with her friend just outside of Obernice, Czech Republic, via the Daily Telegraph. They are some of the more expensive options on the list, as you'll pay about $24 per pack, or about the same as it would cost you to buy 8 Whoppers. But the quality here is on a different level. They were singing along to music and generally having a good time. According to Greensbury's website, all the beef is humanely raised and processed completely in the United States.
Even though Barabasova's friend was live-streaming their fun, Barabasova was unfortunately preoccupied and continually took her hands off the steering wheel while traveling at high speeds. Around 10 minutes into the stream, Barabasova and her friend hit a road barrier. It's also non-GMO certified, meaning no genetically modified organisms were used in feeding the beef. And it's all free from antibiotics. All that social responsibility is lovely, but doesn't mean much if the burger doesn't taste good. But Greensbury Market's flavor holds up. It topped Kitchen Perfect's rating of frozen burger patties, who praised the high-fat content as the reason they tasted so good. It's reasonable to assume that most people aren't buying burgers as a health food option, the site said in its review, so we're rating these as the best. Kirkland ground beef patties. Is there anything Kirkland, Costco's private label house brand, can't do? Chocolate chip cookies? Check. The stream captured the crash and continued to broadcast for another horrible half-hour. According to the Daily Mail, emergency services didn't arrive until 20 minutes after the incident. Smooth, sippable vodka, available by the half-gallon? You betcha. Barabasova's friend sustained multiple injuries. And while once upon a time it came as a big surprise when somebody told you they purchased their entire barbecue spread at Costco, the warehouse retailer's reputation for great meat is now widely known. Tragically, Barabasova didn't survive. Moreover, Barabasova isn't the only example of a driver who was live streaming at the time of a wreck. And that's a big reason why the Burger Beast told Mashed that Kirkland's ground beef patties are some of the best on the market. "These burgers are definitely the best choice for a party," he says of the 75/25 high-fat patties. In 2016, Onasi Olio Rojas recorded himself driving at over 110 miles per hour near Providence, Rhode Island, via NBC 10 WJAR. He weaved in and out of traffic until he finally lost control and rammed into a garbage truck and concrete barrier. Just make sure to use a nice steakhouse seasoning to liven up the burger. The burgers also clock in at a whopping 1/3 pound, making them considerably larger than the quarter-pound options in the freezer. However, despite the severity of the crash, Olio Rojas survived in critical condition. Almost electrocuting yourself. It's no secret that streamers, especially gaming streamers, need beefy computers. They need rigs that can simultaneously render a game, record footage of them playing, and maintain a stable connection to audience comments without blue screening under the strain. As such, streamer PCs cost a pretty penny and are usually customized out the wazoo. No streamer wants to potentially destroy their rig while troubleshooting problems, or almost kill themselves in the process. Back in 2016, Ice Poseidon was having some problems with a freshly purchased $5,000 PC. If you're buying in bulk, and why else would one go to Costco? Kirkland is the move. Just make sure not to fill up on the $1.50 hot dogs before you get home to grill. Chop House Burgers by Holton. Top to bottom, Holton offers the most impressive line of frozen hamburger patties, with different butcher blends and meat styles, all of exceptionally high quality. The family behind these burgers understands the importance of meat selection, and tells you right in the product name if you're getting chuck and brisket, prime rib, or Angus sirloin. He experienced a power surge, and his computer refused to turn on afterwards. Holton reveals the cuts of beef used. SEF Burger Beast, Gonzalez said in an exclusive Mashed interview, explaining why he put these tops on his list. He talked to fellow streamer Destiny, who suggested resetting the computer's BIOS by pressing the Clear CMOS button. Instead, Ice Poseidon stuck a rivet directly into the computer while it was plugged in. When Ice Poseidon jammed the small rod into his PC, sparks flew out, and he yelped in either surprise or pain. According to Destiny, he shorted something in the computer and is lucky to be alive, since he forced large amounts of electricity to go where it wasn't meant supposed to, including his hand. Basically, you should never try to DIY computer repair when power is running through it, especially with an electrically conductive tool. Not sure if that's why I thought these were better, but I did think these were the best of the bunch. Holton doesn't just vary the cuts of meat it uses. The Steakhouse Burgers also offer USDA prime patties and certified Angus beef patties, probably the two highest markers of American beef quality. Though Burger Beast wouldn't specify a favorite from the line, we can't blame him. All the 1/3 pound patties are fantastic if you're a beef connoisseur. And still pretty great even if you're not.